Thank you, Aaron. Hello, everyone. I'm Başak. First, I would like to thank you all for being here and for ENSURE-6G team, especially to TUDELF, UCD for organizing this fourth event of ENSURE-6G. And I would like to share one of my research insights with you related to platform dependency and its impacts to privacy. Can you see my screen?
Oh, yes.
And
it's not
moving?
Full screen, but
let me share just a minute. Just a minute. Oh. Let me share PDF, not PowerPoint. Yes, now I'm making full screen. Yes. Is it okay? And is it moving?
Oh, yes, yeah, it's moving.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that. And I'm Başak. I'm an assistant professor at Özyeğin University Faculty of Law at IT Law Department. Our university is established in Istanbul, and we are one of the team members of ENSURE-6G project, and we are happy to be conducting research with this team. And let me share with you one of my research insights which related to platform dependency. Today, the reason that I wanted to share with you this experience that I believe it's important for us as researchers in the field of 6G as well. Even though this project is not directly linked to 6G, but it's indirectly linked to 6G because it's about the usage of VR in some case, in education in this case, for example, and VR, AR, and XR altogether will be crucial elements for 6G beginning from 2030. With regards to platform dependency, we faced a challenge within this project. And let me begin, why did we conduct this project? By the way, this project was for just 1 year, and it had ended in May 1st, 2025. And its report is successfully accepted by the National Research Council of Turkey. The project was funded by National Research Council TÜBİTAK under the Research Fund for Innovative Solutions for Social Sciences. And the project title is, you can see, VR-supported mock trial simulations in legal education. So what does it mean? In legal education, mock trial simulation is a very important part of the education, since even during their education phases, the legal students can experience a courtroom experience. Because before that, we can only go to court after we graduate, and it wasn't a good experience, I can tell. But with this experience, all the students can experience a physical courtroom. In Özyeğin University, we have physical replica of a real courtroom in our campus. And students of our law faculty can, each semester, they can voluntarily join these works. They can choose a subject, for example, from IT law, from maritime law, whatever they like. And they also chose to be a judge, defendant, claimant, or even witness within a mock trial work. But during times of crisis, like pandemic, or the one that I will explain to you later, for example, earthquakes nationwide, physical experience cannot be done. So we wanted to, right after the earthquake that hit Turkey's northeastern part, we would like to try this for the future, actually, not implement it directly now to our illegal education, but can we do it? We wanted to answer of this question, and what could be the challenges for these mock trial simulations. And I'm so happy that we conducted it, because we, at first hand, we saw the challenge. One of the biggest challenges was platform dependency. Now I explain it for you this. By the way, you can see at right that we have scanned our real physical mock courtroom in our campus into Mozilla platform, and then we created avatars for example, for the roles of within this mock trial education. And of course, this project was not conducted solely by the Faculty of Law. It is impossible. It's not our professional. And we conducted it with the aid of architecture faculty, Department of Game. And it was therefore a multidisciplinary, on the other hand, project. So the project is important because this insight could give an idea on the importance of fair competition and user rights. And also, we have understood that the non-technical problems are not independent to technical problems and vice versa. Because the technical problems we faced forced us to use some big platform, and the impact of this it had direct impact to privacy outcomes within the research. So maybe this insight could give an idea on the importance of fair competition and user rights and trustworthy and ethically aligned VR, AR, and XR apps in 6G. And you can see our Mozilla 3D modeling of courtroom environment here, and with all the characters, with lawyer suites on them. And mock trials, as I mentioned before, are essential part of our legal education here in Özyeğin University, and some other universities can use it. But as I explained at the beginning, during times of pandemic or some natural disasters, times like this, the physical education cannot be done, or even though there is no challenge like that, some universities lack this kind of physical courtrooms within their campuses, and the students lack the benefits of mock courts, and this brings some inequality and digital divide in legal education. So in order to surpass this, we started this project. In the application form, before submitting our application to this project, thankfully we have defined one of the risks, the platform dependency, because we wrote as one of the risks that we will use Mozilla at first hand, but if Mozilla platform will shut down, so it was like an oracle. We will switch to another platform, and this was our plan B. Yes, plan B worked, but it will have some costs, of course. And these are beloved students, volunteer students who are conducted research with us within this project. And we made many, not once, many trials, both with Mozilla and then after Meta. So VR, AR, and XR, you know more than me, that have potential so crucial for 6G. So after the earthquake hit southeastern Turkey in 2023, university students couldn't attend their courses because many of them coming from other cities to Istanbul or any other cities where they conduct their university education. And online education unfortunately became a reality for Turkey again after pandemic in 2023. And our research began 2024 with these motivations in our hands, not that with a motivation that it's so popular, let's put some headsets to our students, but our real motivation was that to find a plan B in order to times of crisis, and also to tackle the challenges of digital divide. So full trials have begun, and before and after we conducted also some enquetes, and also the students were very happy for being in this project. Of course, we also get consent of the students because their personal data was processed. And when we are talking about VR, AR and extended reality platforms, personal data processed necessarily involves sensitive data, including gaze, depending on the application need, for example, even the gait, voice, gaze, interactions, voice. Therefore, it is a box of gold, we can say. So, the motivation for this research, you can see leveraging data-driven insights for legal education improvement also. And as a use case for 6G, it is important to understand the feature of education as well. Education is also a use case for 6G with using transformative digital solutions like we are in this example. But what about the challenges of a big tech invasion, we can say, in applications? Beginning with technological dependency and data sovereignty concerns, the loss of user, for example, the loss of trust of users to the applications, and fair competition we need not only for the market, but fair competition brings us much more trustworthy 6G. And in many cases, in many use cases, used not only VR, of course, this is one example, and not only VR, but digital tools. And also equal access to technology. In this case here, it was VR. It's really important because the tools were expensive that we used here. And also it's not digital, we need to tackle the digital divide on the other hand, so we need fair competition for this also. One of the major reasons that why we have to prevent big tech invasion in VR applications and prevent platform dependency, for example, because researchers have to rely on dominant VR platforms, and this not only impact the outcome of the research or the users that voluntarily be involved or not involved in this research, but also the dependence of the researcher is another problem, because we have to be independent scientifically on the other hand. So also there are some lock-in effects and restricted data access, loss of control of data by users, and limited interoperability is another problem. And how to prevent a big tech invasion, for example, in VR, AR, and XR applications, and also in research that use these digital tools. We have to implement some legal regulatory tools that support sovereign tech and platforms. And we have to entail a tech policy that could give us some effective and inclusive solutions. And novelty and value balancing means that yes, sometimes we have to jump around a novel thing, since just it is new and it's cool, but it's not. We have to put forward some legal and ethical limitations, and we have to understand at first hand what could be the implications on privacy, user trust, and fair competition of these novel tools. And we have to give user control on data. But how? One of the answer of this how, before that, I have to underline that yes, EU digital framework, I know Bart hates the word framework, but EU digital framework consists many regulations, as you all know, and they're not very independent to each other. They're interdependent and they complement each other. When we are talking about platform dependency, and that we have faced during our project here, and one of the biggest and major legal tool is EU's Digital Markets Act. And Digital Markets Act aim to prevent this kind of market dominance and market dependence to some certain companies, actually. And the EU regulator underlines that it impacts not only the technology, not only the economic values and market, but also user trust and protecting of privacy. So EU Digital Markets Act also is a complementary legal tool for GDPR, and it strengthens it. According to Recital 3, you can see that EU regulator underlined and highlighted the importance of this. It says that a small number of large undertakers sometimes provides core platform services that we have encountered during our research. They can get some considerable economic power, and this economic power not only for market, but when you have that much economic power that EU regulator underlined as gatekeeper power, and you can control not only markets actually, but you can have some minimal, at least in an optimistic way, control on regulators as well, because now states also need these digital tools to give their services, to conduct their administrative activities as well. So the EU legislator also underlined that it means that gatekeepers feature an ability to connect many business users with many end users through their services. And this is very correct in regards to, for example, VR, especially when we think VR that will be used in 6G. It says the outcome of this is to leverage their advantages, such as their access to large amounts of data and from diverse activities. And who is a gatekeeper? Since the title of my speech is dependence on platforms, but it means something in legal wording. I mention actually gatekeepers and depending on gatekeepers. And there is a legal tool in the EU Digital Markets Act, and it's a regulation, and it formulates who is a gatekeeper and what are the consequences of being a gatekeeper. And it says some qualitative and both quantitative aspects and tests in order to assume one company as a gatekeeper. Article 3 formulates this. According to Article 3, paragraph 1, it says, if an undertaking, now we can think about a company that conducts business in VR, AR applications, as an example, has a significant impact on the internal market, it says, and provides a core platform service, which is an important gateway to business users, but not only business users, also to end users, and enjoys a durable position. It's not one-time success, it's a durable position in its operations, or it's foreseeable that, and here this part is important for 6G, foreseeable that it will enjoy such a position in the near future. But also there are some qualitative tests about this. Since it says significant impact, but what is significant impact? It says, as regards this significant impact, where a company achieves an annual EU turnover equal or to above 1.5 billion in each of the last 3 financial years, or its average capitalization market value is at least 75 billion euros. Yes, it fulfill this significant impact condition. What about being a core platform service? It says where it provides a core platform service, for example, if it has at least 45 million monthly active end users established or located in the EU, and at least 10,000 yearly active business users established in the EU. 45 million is a middle-sized country, actually. Germany, for example, has more than 45 million people within its territory. So when these conditions are easily be met with big technology companies, we can say. So as regards to a durable position, it says the conditions of this paragraph should be met at least for 3 financial years. So why do we need this kind of highlighting and creating this kind of a regulation, another regulation for digital market? Because the regulator says that, let me take Gallet inside. Because the EU regulatory underlines the importance of when we cannot limit the business conduct of gatekeepers, so we could face some serious imbalances in bargaining power. In bargaining power of whom? Bargaining power of other businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises, medium-sized enterprises, newcomers to the market. Also, bargaining power of end users also. On what are we being, what could be the bargaining power of end user about their control of their data and about the process of their personal data. And consequently, EU regulator underlined that unfair practices and conditions for business users, mostly conducted in a unilateral way, and also it is true for end users as well. So this is not only for market, not only for economics, but it's also for innovation. We need much more innovative newcomers and new technologies, but when we let go these kind of gatekeepers, it means that when we're not limiting the gatekeepers, we are limiting the newcomers, new technologies, new innovations, and also this also limits the bargaining power of end users on their privacy rights, on their bargaining power on consent forms, for example, their usage of data and data processing. So it is altogether very important for 6G. The EU Digital Markets Act is an important legal tool to limit this platform dependency in 6G, because since the 6G will be heterogeneous network, but we will need XR, VR technologies, and also the bigger players will be there as today, but we have to create something different in order to make much more independent decisions, both in our research and commercial. And according to Recital 36, this is important because it shows directly the interconnection between the gatekeeper position and privacy and data processing. And it's like a chicken and egg game, because the more their services are being used as gatekeepers with unilateral conditions and with high bargaining power, the more data they process, and when they process more data, they get much more technological advantage and they get much more market power, and then it continues again and again. This is why I think that it's like a chicken and egg game. So the EU regulator underlines explicitly that when gatekeepers collect personal data directly of end users for providing online advertising, and when end users use third-party websites and software applications also. And third parties also provide gatekeepers with personal data of their end users, because they don't have that much power. They are dependent to gatekeepers in their own services. So these are important highlights from the EU's Digital Markets Act. And finally, yes, we can assume some undertaking is a gatekeeper under Digital Markets Act. And yes, we have to limit their power and be much more free as researchers, end users, third-party technology providers, less dependent on these gatekeepers. But how? According to EU's Digital Market Act, there are some obligations for gatekeepers. I will not show you all of them in this hour of morning. I will just show you one of them, Article 5.2. It is directly, especially about personal data obligations for gatekeepers. It says the gatekeeper shall not do any of the following, and it's all related to personal data. Process for the purpose of providing online advertising services, personal data of end users using services of third parties. Combine personal data. This is important for research, both research and economics about VR, AR, and XR platforms that will be used in 6G because it will be highly important then. It says combining personal data from relevant core platform services with personal data from any further core platform services. For example, a gatekeeper in VR application services market can be a gatekeeper also in health services, and so it can use and share and process data within its services, and it will create much more power, market power, and this is the reason why EU regulator wants to limit this personal data combining. And cross-use personal data from the relevant core platform services in other services provided separately by the gatekeeper, and sign in end users to other services of the gatekeeper in order to combine personal data like a lock-in agreements. So these all will be in privacy policy of a gatekeeper or a usage policy. So we have to give consent in order to keep using their services. So yes, there are some implications coming from GDPR, but without this kind of a market limitation, GDPR cannot be effective that much. This is the reason why Digital Markets Acts are a complementary and an important tool for privacy and limiting our dependence on big platforms in the age of 6G as well. And one of the outcomes happened this year in April. EU Commission fined Meta and Apple, I will just show you Meta case here, for pay or consent models, depending on these provisions of Digital Markets Act. The European Commission found Meta in breach because Digital Markets Act obligation necessitates that these gatekeepers to give consumers the choice of a service that uses less of their personal data. For example, I will choose a Y platform that I believe that it's processed less data or maybe it is more compliant to GDPR and it is more respectful to principles of data processing, for example, data minimization principles. But I cannot. So why? Because there are some conditions beginning from November 2023. Meta brought its conditions of consent or pay. It's an advertising model. When an EU user of a Facebook or Instagram cannot have a choice. It only choice they had was that consent to processing of personal data, combination for personalized advertising, or pay us monthly. So this is, yes, of course, is also not compliant method for under GDPR, but here is an important market tool we have in the regulatory field. And since this model did not give users to opt out to use service that use less personal data, the Commission found it not compliant with the DMA and fined Meta with a monetary fine. And to sum up, we need more diverse and open platforms also for VR, AR, and XR services, which will be critical in 6G. And during our research, let me go back to our slides. We began with Mozilla, which was our plan A, but we highlighted it as a risk that it can be shut down. And the reason of shutting down of Mozilla also not so much independent from the market dynamics, I believe. And then we had to, according to our application form Plan B, we had to switch another platform, and the more convenient model was that. And this was, of course, led us to give a second look to our consent forms for our research. This is therefore important for researchers that designing their consent forms according to their also Plan Bs or in this kind of alterations during the projects. And therefore it didn't, because our students knew us. But if we were a commercial company, or if we were some researcher that they didn't know, maybe they didn't want to continue our research with this new consent forms, new platform, because this platform collects more data, not only in a quantitative measure, but also qualitative, much more complex data, and shares in many diverse platforms and other services as well. So the dependence on platforms also can affect the voluntary participation into our researchers as well. Thank you so much. We can talk, you can share your ideas, or you can ask questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Başak. This is a very nice talk and also a very important use case for 6G. I think now we are open the floors for all the people in both on-site and online for questions.